Cliff Nation, stand up. We the voice of the fans, from the east to the west side. United we stand, telling all the Raider tales, transactions and more. With our eyes on the prize, we ready to soar. Cliff Nation, let's ride. Painted skies in our heart, from the draft to the game day. Yeah.
What's going on, Raider Nation? This is your man Cliff Thornton from the Raider Fan Podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any news. I'm gonna start doing a lot of news for the Raiders since the season's over for us. It was over last week. The only good thing about this Monday is we didn't lose. We just didn't win either. So, but kudos to the teams that are in the playoffs. We did have wild card weekend, and then I'm kind of surprised on some of the scores. Some of the teams that advanced, I'm not surprised with the Buffalo Bills. They did beat a good Jacksonville Jaguars team, so that's going to be a really interesting game between the Bills and Denver. I know we're all going to be rooting for the Buffalo Bills. And then you got the game tonight, Houston versus Pittsburgh. The winner goes to New England. Unfortunately, I'm a Raider fan living in New England, so I can already hear some of the buzz, and I'm getting my chops busted, but always repping the Raider Nation, so always will. So it will be interesting to see the next coming weeks. But let's talk the future of the Raiders. Right now, they have interviewed quite a few coaches. They requested to interview quite a few coaches. Some names I'm really excited about. I'm really happy to see. So let's get into that. Defensive coordinator for the Chargers, Jesse Minder, is coming. I knew they were going to ask for that interview. The Chargers lost. They did a good job. They held the Patriots to 16 points. But with the loss, they only scored 3. So that's an interesting request, trying to get into our division and get some coaches and put them on the Raiders. One that I really do like, the Panthers defensive coordinator, Evero. He really turned the Panthers defense around just in 1 year. As far as the head coach, defensive minded. We do have a good defensive coordinator, but I wonder if he's going to stick around. So that's going to be an interesting interview. I'm going to keep my eyes open on that. I liked Mike LaFleur from the Rams. He's the offensive coordinator. Even though he don't call the plays, but he is their offensive coordinator. He helps design the plays, and he does game time management. That's pretty good if we can get him into the staff. I don't know about a head coach, but if we can get him maybe as an offensive coordinator, I'm not too thrilled about the head coach position for him, considering he's not even calling plays. So that's one name that's been put out there, so that's going to be interesting. One name I'm not surprised, only because of the last name. It's the Rams defensive coordinator, Chris Shula. I know he's going to get a lot of interviews, a lot of requests. He's already been one of the top-notch coaches for defensive coordinator. His name is going to resonate through the NFL just with the last name, but more than that, it's resonating because of what he's done with that defense. Vance Johnson, the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos, I think that is one of the better interviews that we've requested for the names that I've said thus far. He helped Denver with that defense, really turn that around. So that would be really good to bring what they're hiding in Denver in that defense and bring them over to the Raiders and maybe reestablish what the Raiders are trying to do. One name I really do like, offensive coordinator from the Seattle Seahawks, Klint Kubiak, I think would be an amazing hire. Offensively, they are tough to deal with. Great running game, good passing game, very good schemes in the offensive side of the ball. I think that's what the Raiders are really missing, is an offensive-minded coach to come in here, and especially when we get the first-round pick, we're gonna get Mendoza. We should get Mendoza, and we need someone to really work with the quarterback. Look what Look what he's done with the quarterback at Seattle. I can't think of his name right now, but he's done very, very well with him, and he's been a traveling quarterback. Finds his home there, and they're the number one seed in the NFC. So that's going to be in a really good interview. I would hope that we can bring him in, and that will be the second round of the interview process. I got to give it offensive coordinator Matt Nagy from the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, he's been doing an amazing job at Kansas City, but he's also toe-to-toe with Andy Reid. He's not always the quarterback, always the play caller. He helps with the design, but that's another one that they did do a request. I'm not too sure I'm sold on that name, on that in particular pick because of that reason. But it doesn't hurt to try to pick out some of our rivals and some of their better coaches. The former head coach from the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski, I think is a really good hire. I think that would be, a good interview. I think what he's done at Cleveland, he's really put some enthusiasm. That defense is really good. The offense, again, it's good, but it's not great. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see. I know that they reached out to Denver for the quarterback coach, David Webb. I'm not I do not like that. He's just a quarterback coach. We need someone with a lot more experience, although he did a really good job with their quarterback, Bo Nix. So maybe we bring him in as something less than a head coach. So maybe we bring him in, interview him for a head coach, but kind of settle for something else. Another good name that's out there, Brian Flores from the Minnesota Vikings, the defensive coordinator. He did tell them that he's going to pursue a head coaching position. He did tell Minnesota he's not coming back, so that's a good indication that he wants to go somewhere. Two names that one name's a rumor, and it's starting to get a lot of attention. The name's out there, one of the biggest names, but I think the rumor that came out of what he's requesting is really holding a lot of people back, is John Harbaugh. I like the coach. I think he's a good name, but I have a feeling he's another Pete Carroll. He had one of the best rosters, and he can't win. I get injuries happen, it's part of the game, but he hasn't really done a lot with Baltimore. It's been on a decline, and he had a really good roster. So I don't know if we invest what he's asking for. That's like a hit or miss type of situation. So I'm kind of leery. I'm bringing him in to be the head coach, but then again, he's a Super Bowl champ. You know what I mean? He's got the talent behind him, longevity with Baltimore, 18 years. But he's not a Bill Belichick with Tom Brady. He doesn't have seven rings. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that name. And the biggest rumor, which I think it would be great for the Raiders, bringing in John Gruden. Defensively pretty good, but he's really offensive-minded coach. Bringing in a new quarterback, I think he will really do wonders with that quarterback, with Mendoza, and the fan base will be excited. Bringing back Chucky, he is that Raider. You know what I mean? He's that players coach. He's tough. He's got a lot of he'll put a lot of discipline, which the team needs. I think the team will rally around him. I know the fan base will rally around him. So, but it's just a rumor. We'll see. But that's gaining a lot of attention. Some sources that reached out to me did say that there is some news about John Gruden, some interest in bringing him into the building. There is a rumor out there that they did request an interview with him. So that's something to keep your eye on. Also, does he bring back Derek Carr? And then do you go a different route with the first round pick? Maybe, trade it for several picks and really booster this organization. I don't know if Derek Carr's the answer. Before he got hurt, he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Ever since he got hurt, he just hasn't been that same quarterback. So again, that would be a big risk anyway. But let's get into what the Raiders are going to be doing now. I don't want to hear rebuild. You know what I mean? I know that we have a lot of pots that we have to fill. There's some rumors out there. Trade Crosby, trade him in for picks. Let's really build this program. But picks doesn't mean that they're going to do well. We picked some good offensive linemen. They didn't even play. I think the first thing that we should do is let's bring in a coach. Let's bring in a quality coach. One thing that the Raiders have to stop is this 1 year here, 1 year there. No one's going to want to coach. No one's going to want to play for a 1 year coach. Let's figure it out. Let's do our due diligence. Brady and the Raider team. Let's figure this out and bring a coach in for minimum 3 to 5 years, minimum. Let's give them the opportunity to actually build. I did like Pete Carroll, but I was afraid of what was going to happen. Actually happened. The game's too far in front of him. He brought in Geno Smith and Chip Kelly and the organization. There was no match there. So that was just a total disaster. And the Raiders ended up being the worst team in the league. That's why you had to get rid of them. But now let's bring in a coach that can really rebuild the program. That's what the Raiders need. Defensively, build around Max Crosby. Do not trade that guy. I mean, we're looking at Spillman at the Patriots, playoffs, impact players. Every time we lose a player and they go to another team, they're in the playoffs or they're an impact player. I have a feeling that it's our coaches that are not really coaching them up, not really evaluating correctly and building our younger players to become really good starters for the Raiders, because when they go somewhere else, they're really contributing. So I would say get somebody in the middle, a nice defensive tackle, or a defensive end to help Crosby on the opposite side to bring more pressure to the quarterback. Bring in another linebacker. We do need help in the secondary. So that's something I would definitely look at some free agency. Offensively, I mean, first thing you do, bring a good offensive line coach. I just, for the life of me, we have these younger players that didn't play. Were they that bad? Is it the coaches? I have no idea, but when they played well. Colt Miller comes back at the left tackle, so we'll kind of have that a little solidified. So let's start building this offensive line. First thing we need to do is, bring in a coach. Stefanski was one of the best offensive line coaches for the Patriots. I know he's retired, but that's the first phone call I would make, depending on what coach ends up coaching for the Raiders. We need a true number one wide receiver. We have two good tight ends, one really good one in Bowers. We have potentially a really good running back. Just our offensive coordinator really kind of didn't do him justice. Our offensive line needs to be done right, and our offensive coordinator needs to call plays to run the ball more than 15 times a game. So, I want a true believer in Genty. I think he's a really good running back. So if you look at what we have for an offense, we got some good number 2s and number 3 split ends. We have a great tight end. We just need a true number one wide receiver. We need to build, from inside and out on the offensive line, and give these guys that came in last year a chance, a good opportunity. And maybe we have 2 guys. We got a left tackle. We got a good center. So let's hopefully we can figure that out and see where we're gonna go as far as the coaching staff. I don't know. In the comments, let me know who you think who's the best head coach for the job. Is it John Gruden? Is it John Harbaugh? Is it Brian Flores? Is it Klint Kubiak? I love Klint Kubiak. I think he would turn this Raider organization around within 1 to 2 years. I think he does a great job in year 1, just with his offensive genius. He's got Seattle running the ball, throwing the ball. He's got defenses having nightmares. So I think that would be probably the number 1 pick. I do like John Gruden. I could be a little biased, but let's see what they're going to do. I know there's a lot of news out there, and I'm going to try to do more updates throughout the week and bring more to the podcast. Not that the Raiders are not playing, but let the rumors start. Let's get these coaches in. Let's interview them, and more importantly, let's bring in a good coach that's going to help this organization win right now. We're seeing coaches come in and turning the program around within 1 to 2 years. Not too many brought in a 3-winning team, a team that's only won 3 games. The Raiders look really, really bad right now, but they're only going to look better with the right coach. So hopefully the Raider organization, does their due diligence. So put in your comments, who do you want to see as the next Raiders head football coach? And like always, let's go Raiders.
Cliff Nation, stand up. We the voice of the fans, from the east to the west side. United we stand, telling all the Raider tales, transactions and more. With our eyes on the prize, we ready to soar. Cliff Nation, let's ride. Painted skies in our hearts, from the draft to the game day. Yeah.